What is going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's Pardon the Disruption. This one certainly will not disappoint for our loyal viewers. I am your host, Matthew Potter, short sale guy, hedge fund connection, and co-founder of the Family Tree at Real Broker. If I can help you grow your business in any way, go ahead and give me a holler. I'm going to get into how we do things around here. We will have 5 pre-selected questions, and each one of our esteemed panelists will get 45 seconds to answer, and then ultimately there'll be 2 minutes to chop it up after that. And then points will be awarded on the best argument that is given or whoever cash apped me earlier today. Not looking at you, RJ. We're going to go ahead and get into it with introductions around here with our reigning champion, Mr. RJ Bates, this, that, and the third. Introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? RJ Bates III here from Fort Worth, Texas. I just want to give a quick shout out to Steve and Leon, man. You guys, I looked at the questions. We don't have any NBA questions. So I wanted to throw in the NBA today by saying you guys are like the Detroit Pistons and San Antonio Spurs. You show up every night. You know you're not going to win, but you still show up. We appreciate you guys showing us Pardon the Disruption this week.
Wow. Just like that. We're starting in intros. All right. Next up, coming to us live and direct from Richmond, VA, we have Chris Jefferson. CJ, introduce yourself, boss.
Chris Jefferson, Richmond, VA, the U. I'm excited to be back another week. Everybody's looking fresh. I feel like Steve's skin is like slightly lighter. So shout out to Steve. Happy birthday, Steve Trank. Leon, I don't know if I've ever seen you with a hat, man. Good for you. And I was looking over RJ's shoulder, and the way his head was sitting, I thought it said Tink. I see it says Think, but it's good to see him as well. And Potter, my guy, man, what's up? What's
going on, man? It's always good to see you. All right, next up, we have Mr. Leon. Do not forget the G, Barnes, Collective Genius. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Man, shots fired right out of the gates. I think everybody's upset with me since I'm in Tampa at 75 degrees while everybody else is freezing their cookies off. Well, I guess with the exception of light-skinned Steve. I'm old school. So I will take the compliment of the Pistons and the Spurs because I don't live in today. I live in the past. And so I'm a bad boy. And I'm a champion over 5 times. So I will definitely take that. Thank you, RJ.
You're welcome.
Man, that is outstanding. All right. Last, certainly not least, coming to us with the best lighting clearly today. Steve, Mr. Disruptor Trang, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, Steve Trang, Real Estate Disruptors, closemarcells.com. So we had a meeting this week on how we can improve the quality of the show. It was very, very thought-provoking, very inspiring meeting, and as a result of our meeting, we're looking for 2 more panelists. So besides Leon and myself, we're looking for 2 more people to join our organization, people that will respect the professionalism of our organization and not be so disrespectful to my colleagues. So if you guys want to throw your hat in the ring, just send us an email, steve@disruptors.com.
In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and roll with the A squad here. All right, we're going to get into it with question number 1. How can a wholesaler avoid burnout during the early stages of their career when they are still actively involved in most aspects of their business? Start us off, RJ.
Yeah, I had the honor of interviewing Trevor Mock from Carrot yesterday, and he talked about his entrepreneur freedom formula. And he talked about an entrepreneur starts to be able to hire and delegate things out once they eclipse the $300,000 mark. $300,000 a year to $1 million is really where you need to start delegating things out. Before that, you could pretty much do everything yourself. And it was thought-provoking in regards to this question. You know, up until that point, you pretty much have to do everything yourself. So how can you avoid that burnout? Because it could take you a couple of years to eclipse 300,000. And I think that what we need to do there is find someone that's running the type of business that you want to run and mirror them exactly and avoid all of the other noise. If you can do that, I think you can avoid the burnout and get there as quickly as possible.
There we go. We got ourselves a very specific game plan from RJ. I like it. All right, CJ, what are your thoughts on this?
Nah, I just got burnt out. Like, let's go to RJ. Nonetheless, right? If you're a new wholesaler, I talk about this in one of our programs, Hands Off Wholesaling, right? People get into the business, they want to be wholesalers. They're one person and they're trying to do all these different roles to complete one wholesale transaction. What I often talk to our students about is isolate on one part of the process. If you want to isolate, like in Hands Off Wholesaling, we say to isolate on acquisitions and hand your deal off to somebody else to do the rest of the work for you and get it closed. Or, identify yourself as a transaction coordinator, be a transaction coordinator in a transaction, make some money. If you can identify as somebody who has relationships, can find cash buyers, go find cash buyers and find people who have deals they need to move and make some money. Like, that's the fastest way to avoid burnout as one person and the fastest way to actually start making money.
There we go. I like it. All right, Leon, what about you? How are you avoiding burnout?
So a couple things here. Both RJ and CJ had great points there. And I usually see people as real estate investors, wholesalers, when they're doing 2 to 3 deals a month, and generally in that $300,000 to $500,000 range on an annual basis. So it's right in our wheelhouse. And usually what we start off with is elevate and delegate. In fact, our opening community that we have, or for people that are generally doing 2 to 3 deals, is called Elevate. You've got to start delegating at that point, whether that's through VAs or the game has changed over the last 10 years. There are so many services that you can bring on to offset and delegate things that are not high revenue generating tasks. Those are the things that you should really focus on, like TC services, lead management services, cold calling services, you name it, they're available to you that you don't have to go out and hire. And you only pay when you need these particular services. The last thing I will say that no one's touched on yet is you have to make time for yourself. You have to recharge. Shout out to CJ. You have to recharge. And if that involves physical activity, reading, you have to make time for the things that recharge you and actually bring you energy. You've got to make sure that you're doing both of those things and not just delegating.
Definitely important to recharge. I love that, Leon. All right, Steve, what about you? What are your thoughts?
So I don't think RJ was listening in our meeting when we were talking about we want to have our show be more engaging, right? We don't want to bore our audience to tears. So I look at two different things. First, you have to remember your purpose, right? When you got into the business, you got into the business for a very specific reason. Remember that reason. Remember your purpose, right? Whether it was changing your legacy, pursuing financial freedom, time freedom, whatever. Remember why you started, because that's what you have to have that passion to push you through. The other thing, this is not going to be PC, but don't be a baby, right? This stuff's hard. If you can't power through in the beginning because it's too hard, you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself if this is a business for you, because there is nothing but adversity. And once you get past the first layer of adversity, then there's the second layer of adversity. Then there's the third layer of adversity. Chris talked about this last week or the week before. Like, there's not a point. It's like, oh, it's easy now. It just gets harder and harder and harder. You have different problems. So if you're struggling initially because you're burning out, just know it's not going to get easier.
So, Steve, on that point, though, I mean, I hear you, but the things that burned me out early on was not the actual business. It was I didn't have the funds yet to hire a bookkeeper and a CPA to do that. I didn't have the money to hire a TC, or I didn't even know what a TC was. The things that we can delegate out once you get past, that's why I brought up that $300,000 number, is once you get to that point there and you're making enough money on a monthly basis to start delegating the things that can burn you out. So I hear you about the passion and the vision, but there's certain
happened?
things that can burn you out.
You couldn't afford it. So what'd you do? You freaking did it.
Yeah.
That's what it's, you
Yeah,
just
I mean, when
do it.
Go ahead, CJ.
No, I mean, look, when you're starting a business, you're starting a wholesaling, it's not a business just because you got an LLC. All right. And so, this notion that you can just like do all these things without money is completely unrealistic. Most people get into wholesaling first because we don't have any money when we start. That's why we start off in wholesaling in the first place. So your primary goal to me should just be to go get some money. All right. And there's so many ways with wholesaling that you can quickly start to make some money. Again, if you focus on acquisitions, you can make some quick money. If you focus on providing buyer relationships, you can make some quick money. If you focus on doing transaction coordinating and just helping people with their paperwork or managing their follow-ups, you can quickly make some money. And then you can then use that to implement some things as you start to move along.
Remind me that if I ever have any issues, the psychiatrist that I would not want to call is Dr. Trang. Because Dr. Trang, I'm going to go in and sit on his
Agreed.
couch and he's going to tell me, grow up, don't be a baby. That's his solution to not burning out.
Hey, it works. It works. It got me here.
All right. So what's the next phase after you say, hey, I'm not a baby? Now what do I need, Dr. Trang? I need help with getting through those things that are burning me out. Because look,
Right.
depression's real, burnout is real. What do we do to go and solve those? What's next? Can't just tell me I'm a baby.
No, but I think you surround yourself, right? We talked about a lot on this show about finding community, finding tribe, finding other people that you can connect with and share your war stories with. But again, the reason why I say like don't be a baby, like Steve Jobs said this in an interview, like you've got to find a passion. You got to be passionate about this, because if you without the passion, you will wilt and crumble, right? You got to have a purpose.
We talk about this all the time, and each phase of your business, there's going to be a valley of death, right? You get to the top of the mountaintop, and you think that at that $250,000 annual mark, you're going, man, I'm doing great, and then you just you tap out because you're now going into that next level, what we call the valley of death. In order to get through those things, you're absolutely right. You have to surround yourself with other people that can talk you through, and that you can understand that if that person can do it, then so can I. So that's absolutely being a part of a community, or even having local conversations with others that have been in front of you in the past. Because there's going to come that time. I don't care what level of business you have. You're going to have those hard times that you're going to come on to right after you have your best times.
You can always call me Leon when you need to talk.
Well, I don't know about that. You're not a hugger, and you don't like talking long on the phone.
All right. Well, I'm sure everybody wants to award the point to Dr. Trang on this one. This one's going to go ahead and go to Leon. One of the things I think he touched on, I think everybody would agree with this, but he touched on, is you got to take time to recharge for yourself every now and then, so that you are not draining your battery down to nothing. You're useless if your battery's zero. I've definitely learned that, and I know everybody up here has as well.
One way I recharge real quick, just to add this, is, at least 4 times a year, I take Steve Trang out in the basketball court and I just crush him. Just absolutely crush him. It just gives me so much confidence. Just builds me up. Love it.
Ding, ding. All right. We're going to get into question number 2. As the holidays approach, is this the time to grind or recharge for the next year? Start us off, Leon.
Well, this is actually my question, because in my career, I've gone back and forth on this. And when I was younger, in my 20s, I grinded the mess through the holidays because I knew no one else was working, especially as a salesperson. Those last 2 weeks of the year, a lot of people are taking time. And as I've gotten older, I've taken more of that time myself to spend with family. I think a good happy medium here is for those that do have that time available, especially when it comes from a staffing standpoint. They should take the time that's made available. Do use that time to recharge. But also, if you are at the end of the year and you have goals, you need to push to those goals. That's why we set the goals, especially if you haven't met them at that point. And then from a leadership standpoint, I think executives should be working and planning on 2024 and making sure that all those planning sessions they've had in the last quarter, that they're starting to really get to a point where we're going to hit the ground running January 1st and make sure that you have momentum going into the new year.
Solid. All right, Steve, what about you? Grinding or recharging? Combination of both.
So Ren Bartlett is a friend of ours, and one thing he's screaming right now is it's separation season, baby. This is the time where we separate, right, and create distance between us and our competition. So when I was a solopreneur, December was always my best time, right? This is years ago, but December is always my best time because everyone else is taking it off. So my leads were cheaper, and I was locking up more contracts. So I always loved December. Wholesaling as an industry is a lot more evolved now, right? There's more systems and processes in place, so that doesn't happen as much now as it did before. But it's still separation season. And the reason why is that your Q1 is 100% determined by your efforts in November, December, right? If you take November, December off, you also took Q1 off. because you're not closing anything in January. You take November, December off. So for me, it's separation season. Our guys are grinding and we're enjoying it.
There you go. All right, RJ, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we call them quarters, which leads me to our favorite sports, football and basketball. I mean, I don't think the end of the fourth quarter or the beginning of the first quarter is where you should be taking time off. And I think unless this is where you strategically planned on taking time off to recharge, I think that's another thing that we're undermining here is that, hey, you do need to recharge, like Leon said in question 1, but it should be planned out when you're going to do that and how you're going to do that without your company suffering because of you recharging and refueling yourself. So for me, it's always been, like Steve said, this is separation season. I love finishing the year strong. And then it also leads into starting the year strong. January has consistently been one of our best months of the year. Normally because of the efforts that we put in during December. Yeah, we enjoy the family time, but there's other days where we still go to work and we make sure that we're separating ourselves in January.
RJ's locking up properties at Christmas dinner. He's on the phone. That's where he's gonna make his next ticket. We love
Cousin
it.
Eddie, you looking rough. You need to sell your house.
All right. What about you, CJ? What are your thoughts? Grind time?
Like in my RJ voice, like what a snowflake question. I mean, are you seriously telling me? Like, is this what people do? It's like you're out here singing Christmas carols with people, going to tree lightings, going to brunch, like shopping going to Target, just going down every aisle looking for gifts. Like, what the hell are we really talking about right now? If you are taking off, like RJ's point's fair, right? Like, you should rest, but like that should be like ongoing throughout the year. It shouldn't be like you get to December and just because it's like some magic holiday and it's Christmas and your kids, somebody's kids listening, right? So then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, okay, like it's Christmas. Like I'm just going to chill until the end of the month. And then I'll start working on my goals. I mean, is this serious?
This is serious. So like, I think there's a lot of people in the real estate industry that confuse a holiday for a hollow month.
I'm just going to say something to everyone that's watching right now. That is what influence is right there. I just made Chris Jefferson talk just like me, baby. That is influence.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, what Christmas is one day. What are we really talking about, man? I mean, you just taking off time to take off time?
This question comes from, it's not my question. It is me pulling this from a lot of entrepreneurs during, and not just real estate, during this time. I do think our industry is a little different because of what RJ said about Cousin Eddie. You do have a lot of people in town. I know between Christmas and New Year's, I have put in the past many a house under contract because someone was in town. Now, RJ's model obviously is a little bit different because he's virtual. But if you have family in town and they all inherited the house, guess who is there? Every signer to sign that contract to sell that home to you. And so I brought the question up because it is a serious topic that a lot of entrepreneurs talk about.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs that aren't really entrepreneurs get excited about opportunities to take time off, opportunities to take time to rest. The people that depend on you, the people that families get fed from us, the people that are learning from us, the people that need assistance to sell their homes right now. I mean, they're not looking for you or any of us, I think, to rest. So, I mean, I think this is all just planning long-term over time, over the course of the year, not specific to any sort of holiday.
I'll go back to one of the dates of mine and Cassie's story is the end of 2014 and grinding through November and December, where we closed the deal December 17th. We had $11 in our bank account total. and we closed that deal, and we were able to actually enjoy our holidays. And then January 1st of 2015 was the day that we decided we are going all in on wholesaling. That is the day that we decided, because we were working on New Year's Day. So blending question 1 and 2. No, baby. When we were grinding it out and we were brand new, we were working on New Year's Day. So I think it's where you separate yourself from being successful or not.
There you go. I like it. Look, just based off of the fact that he took a page out of RJ's playbook, we got to give the point to CJ on this one. I mean, coming in hot. I knew just based off of one of CJ's posts the other day where it was like, yo, it's the last month, time to lock in, let's do work.
Come on, man.
we all know that everything that's going to happen in January and February is like, dude, it's predicated on the work you're doing in November and December. That's just the way that it is. With
that said, though, Potter,
Yes.
said, I will see you guys in January. I'm taking the rest of the month off.
You should.
Well, no one's going to notice.
Ouch.
Oh,
Ouch.
shots fired. Come on, Steve. Like it.
Man, Steve is
Call
a
me to
man.
talk about your feelings later, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah,
Looks like
you
somebody got a gift under the tree early.
Hey, you better watch out, Leon. You need to pay that copay over to Dr. Trang and Associates.
Light skin train, man.
He's feisty. All right,
We're gonna
guys.
use that one for a while.
Question number 3. What are your thoughts on what Ryan Pineda said? Here's a video for you.
People treat me now that I have a beard. Before, when I was babyface and I couldn't grow a beard, I definitely did not command the respect that I have today with a beard. I haven't got it carded once yet. I got my own clothing line because I got a beard now, and we're closing more real estate and business deals than ever. Now that could be because our skills and everything else are getting better too, but I think it has everything to do with the beard. So if you want to start getting some respect, go out and grow a beard. And if you can't grow a beard, go out and get some minoxidil, which is just Rogaine, and start putting it on your face for 6 months, and you can end up like me.
Awesome. All right. What are your thoughts on this, CJ? What about you? Beard, no beard? Is it good for business? Start us off, CJ.
The beard is great for business. Is great for life. I'm looking at Steve. I'm looking at Leon, and it's like I want to create a new charitable cause for people without beards. Because I'm like, dang, bro. I'm looking at. Leon just told us how old he was. He said he went to the Pistons games in the '80s, and I'm looking at Leon, and I'm like, he looks like he's 17, bro. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, so he's got to go into a business meeting, and it's got to be like dead serious. And I'm just gonna be looking at him the whole time, like, who is this kid, man? Like, what's this guy got going on? Look, beards are beautiful. All right, look, it's in style. All right, if you can't grow a beard, I don't know what this minoxidil stuff is or whatever. That's what I know what I'm getting these two guys for Christmas, man. Shout out to minoxidil or whatever Ryan Pineda's talking about, man. And can you imagine Steve Trang with a beard? Light skinned Steve with a beard would be great.
Yo. I'm here for it. I want to see it. We need a beard on Trang in 24. Absolutely. All right. What are your thoughts, Leon?
Well, as the resident baby face of PTD, it made me want to run out and get some Rogaine for my face. I think that was the ad that he was placing there. In fact, my thoughts are it's the best product placement ad that I've seen from a social media influencer probably in a very, very long time. Because why? It spoke to me. I can't grow a beard to save my life. Can you imagine 21-year-old salesperson Leon walking into your business going, you need to buy this? It just doesn't work. And I couldn't grow a beard. Thought about a couple times getting facial hair implants and things of that nature. But this ad made me want to run out and get some of that, whatever that product was.
That's outstanding. Leon with a beard is definitely something that's on everyone's bucket list right now. Absolutely.
I look like John. For those old school R&B folks, like in the '90s, I look like John B. If I had a little, look him up, Google him, you'll see it.
Yes. All right, Steve. What about you? Beard, no beard?
I think in my CJ voice, it would be like, "What are we talking about here?" Right? Like, seriously? So I'm trying to think of all the people I actually look up to that have beards. I can't think of any. Right? It's pretty tough. So can I trust them with a beard? I don't know. Is that a trustworthy face? So look, right? I can't think of anyone right now in front of me anywhere else. Man, with a beard, like, do I want to hang out with them? I don't know. I just this ad did not speak to me. I don't know what to say. Maybe Santa. You respect Santa.
Yeah. I know Steve looks up to Santa. Absolutely. All right, RJ, what are your thoughts on the beard?
I mean, Pineda is absolutely right. I mean, look at the results here on Pardon the Disruption. Okay. Leon and Steve, they never win. It's always me and CJ. Okay. And look, the host has a beard. Okay. Now, if outside of Pardon the Disruption, just look at podcasting. We'll use podcasting for an example. I mean, if you're going to watch a podcast, do you really want to watch Steve Train? Or do you want to watch me? I demand respect. Steve he demands 3 stars. I mean, over and over again. Now, here's the thing. I think that Rogaine should sponsor Real Estate Disruptors. This is what I think should happen. And I think we should test out Pineda's theory with every episode's Trang rubbing Rogaine on his face. That's how Real Estate Disruptors should start moving forward. What do you think, Steve?
Listen, I'm not above it. I'm not above this. If Rogaine came knocking and said, "Steve, we'd like to sponsor Real Estate Disruptors," my ears are open, right?
So
$20 is $20.
So
that's the saying in our office.
Just to go ahead and interject this real quick, we have actual proof of the minoxidil working. There we go. Boom. Pre-minoxidil RJ Bates right there. That's Babyface Bates right there. Like, Rogaine, holler at us at PTD Show.
Oh, man, that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure every Friday night I gave that guy my Blockbuster card to rent my 5 minutes.
No, man, you missed it.
That guy definitely watches anime for sure.
That was my Pizza Hut days right there, okay? I was the guy delivering your pizza.
No one is surprised.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
That is absolutely amazing. That might be one of the greatest rounds of all time on PTD. I'm not going to lie. We're going to give this one up for Babyface Bates over there, but I'm also going to throw a point to Leon just because of the Blockbuster comment, because that was pure gold right there. It was. So that's how we're going to break that one up. We're going to get into question 4 now. How would you handle your organization missing a goal despite doing everything right to achieve said goal? Start us off, RJ.
So this is an interesting question. You know, I think we're using Florida State as kind of the inspiration behind this. I think as a leader, when you set a goal and you've done everything right, this is where it's most important for you to capture your team's attention and reset the vision on where you're headed and make sure you don't lose your team. You see this constantly with sports teams where a coach can kind of lose his team members, you know, aspirations, their energy for where they're headed, and they just tank at that point. And as business leaders, you know, it's really difficult sometimes because this could financially impact families and things like that. It's important to reset and then also to bring a solution to the table as to how you're going to achieve that goal. I call it, hey, you could either have an excuse plus a story, or you could come with, this is how we're going to resolve it, and here's the solution. I think it's very important as a leader that you do that for your team. Otherwise, everyone is going to be lost.
Awesome. All right, RJ, we like it, appreciate it. CJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had multiple goals this year that we've missed on. And my thought is always like somebody's got to rally the troops. I think RJ made a really good point, like just about leadership. I think RJ and I are kind of pretty similar in this regard. You know, for me, like when we miss a goal, my intent is always to get in the trench with the person that is like front line for that particular goal, right? So if it's somebody that's like working phones, for example, like I want to get on the phones with them. I want them to feel encouraged. I want them to feel motivated. I want them to feel like that it's okay to fall short of a goal. I think sometimes we put too much emotion and too much feeling on missing goals. Like the goals are goals for a reason. Like you're not going to hit them every single time. It's how you rebound from it, how you react to that failure. And I think you do that by getting in the trench as a leader and helping push things along the way.
There we go. We go further together. All right, CJ. We like it. All right, Leon, what about you?
So it's a hard one from a sports angle for Florida State. They can't do anything. That team will never be the same. They've got graduating seniors and people going to the NFL. So from that perspective, that's a tough situation for their coach to be in. But from a business standpoint, as a leader, both CJ and RJ had great points there. I think there's 3 words that came to mind when I first saw this question, and it goes back to coaching. It's first and foremost to celebrate because you did all the right things. If you did all the right things and you came up short, you gave me everything that you could. That means that we should celebrate that first and foremost. The second part is teach. Obviously in life, not everything goes our way all the time. Same thing in business. And so learn from it, get in the trenches. What could we do better than, our best? Is there something better? Is there something that we missed? Teach, learn lessons. And then last but not least is rally. If we missed our 2023 goals as a coach, as an executive, as a team leader, let's go out and rally the troops to go crush our numbers for 2024. I think those are the 3 things that you should focus on the most, especially if your team gave you everything they could and just came up short.
Damn, motivational speeches by Leon. We like it. All right, Steve.
I'm available for hire.
Awesome. Just not through the rest of 23, right? All right, Steve.
So there's 2 different things. If I was Florida State, I'll do what RJ did. I would just complain and complain and complain, right? Like what the athletic director did tore apart the college football, whatever the committee, right? I mean, he's like, this is a disgrace to football. This is a travesty, a disgrace. You've ruined college football forever, right? He went scorched earth with this. And the reason why I say RJ is because when he was legitimately the 3rd best closer in the original Closers Olympics, he went after Carlos for years. To this day, he still blames Carlos for his loss, right? So just tearing down the system. I love that scorched earth. Internally, if our organization fails to meet the goals, we do what we call after action reviews, right? And it's nothing new. It's just something that's been around forever, right? Like what went well? What are all the things we did well? What are the things we could have learned from? Was it a failure of projection? Did we poorly estimate what the amount of effort required to accomplish those goals? Was our marketing off? Was our conversions off? Did we fail to spend enough? Right? There's all sorts of in marketing, right? So there's a lot of factors to consider. So even if we did everything right, was it just poor projections? So we got to internalize, we got to inspect everything within the organization. So that's number 2. But step 1, just blame Carlos. I love what RJ did with Closers Olympics.
Steve, thank you for that. I will say this, though. Here's the part that I don't like about Florida State's reaction is, yeah, the athletic director, the head football coach, they went scorched earth, right? But then they show up in the Orange Bowl literally now has had to cancel their media days because they're whining about it like little babies. Like, dude, they should have showed up to the Orange Bowl media day and been like, our goal is to beat Georgia and we are going to be the Orange Bowl champions. Okay. Like, they're not attacking this as if this is an opportunity. And I'm going to use an example. I'm a Texas Longhorn fan. I remember a couple of years ago, we played Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. That was an incredible game as a fan and memorable experience. And the worst part about it is Georgia phoned it in. They didn't even try. And I lost a lot of respect for that team and that coaching staff because of that. And I hope that Florida State and Georgia both show up for their fan base and for their student athletes where they're not phoning this in. It's losing like what college football is about. It's not about 4 teams playing for a national championship. There's more to college football than that.
But tearing apart the system, destroying everybody along the way, for me is a way of demonstrating I got your back.
Yep.
Right. For me, it's letting my team know, like, look, I will fight
Yes.
for you.
Yeah.
Well, but I 100% disagree with what you just said there, RJ, in regards to the Orange Bowl.
Damn,
Them
100%.
100%. And here's why. What we often forget in college sports is that it's college. It's not professional, right? And if the Orange Bowl is canceling media day, what do you think they're doing? They're protecting those young men that they know are emotional, who just got left out of the national championship playoff, that did everything they could to get into it, and they're the first Power 5 ever to be left out. So we have to remember, these are kids. These are 18 to 22-year-olds in that range, right? Some
Those are
in
adults.
college
No,
level.
hold on.
They look
Hold-
like
RJ,
Leon.
hold
They
on.
look
They're
like
not
Leon.
professionals.
RJ.
No,
They're
RJ,
not-
hold on.
They're not professionals.
Leon, I know you're a Florida resident. Maybe you're an FSU fan. You're not too far from there. These are grown ass men. All right. I mean, look, this NIL, just because you become 18 and you go play college athletics at a Power 5 high level, it doesn't make you still a child, right? Like, are they young adults? Are they maybe still kid-like? Sure. But look, if you can't, if everybody's going to coddle you, you're talking about athletes who have been coddled their entire lives. These are the people who play at Florida State, wherever they came from, Leon, they are literally the best players where they came from. Quite literally the best players where they came from.
But they're not professional.
Leon, they've been coddled. They've been coddled their entire life. College to me is about preparation and understanding how you're going to have to deal with being a professional. And part of being a professional, if they want to get to that level, is even when you had a bad game, even when you got dunked on, even when you missed the final shot, the ref made a bad call, you got an obligation to get up in front of the camera and talk about the game. And they need to be trained and understand that.
Let me say it the way you said it earlier, okay? What the snowflake-ish is Leon talking about right now?
Yeah,
straight up. But just for reference, CJ brought up
we
bad
will agree
calls.
to disagree.
So,
we will agree
thank you for
to disagree,
referencing.
but I will say this: the Orange Bowl is protecting their brand as well on this side, right? Because they don't want this whole game just to become about Florida State. So it's not just on those kids saying, "I don't want to go out there and speak to the media." This is the Orange Bowl trying to push this down as the narrative.
Leon sounding like a politician. He's running for office. But to CJ's point about a bad call, I agree with you. That was a bad call in that Suns Lakers game. They should not have called a timeout. So I completely agree with you on that, CJ.
Of course, Steve's gonna work in basketball. In the chat, Vic Hall has this comment, and I think that this is spot on. NIL took away the argument of them being kids. Like, look, you're performing now. Like, you got to step up to the plate.
Not all kids make $1 million
On
as
that
a quarterback.
note, I petition that Leon loses a point for his answer being so wrong.
Petition under review. We'll let you know after question 6. We'll see how things go.
Let your kid be a 19-year-old kid on a team that gets left out and see if you had the same response.
I hope we're 8 years away from that.
Dude, Leon, I know you're not that parent that wants every kid to get a trophy, bro.
No, you know better than that. Come on now.
We're acting as
Leon's got a lot of trophies. Leave him out of it. Leave his participation trophies out of this, CJ.
Oh, jeez.
We're acting as if they were wronged here. Dude, let's lay out the facts. Florida State makes the playoffs. They're a 29-point underdog to Michigan, and they get
crushed, bro. They're getting crushed, man.
Crushed.
Matt, Potter, you should just go ahead and grab this back because we'll be here all day on this.
No. This will be for the extended live cut PTD where we go an hour and a half. We'll go ahead and bring this one
hours.
back.
Catch us after hours.
All right. Originally, I'm going off of original arguments. I love this. CJ and RJ were both talking about, getting in the trenches with their people. Ultimately, at the end of the day, though, the image of RJ without a beard is still burned into my head. So point to CJ on that round. All right. Question number 5. This one's very important, and I'm excited for these answers. These better be well-informed answers. Taylor Swift was named Time's Person of the Year. Who would you consider the Person of the Year for real estate investing? Start us off, CJ.
Man, Now here's the thing. I really kind of got to give this to Pace, and not even because I want to. I think he earned it. Really. I mean, the guy's been everywhere. Talk about needing rest. I don't know that. I'm pretty sure. I saw Pace this morning on a Zoom. I don't know if Pace has slept in 4 years. So I got to give this to Pace because the reach he's been able to create. For right, wrong, or indifferent, you got every new person out here talking about Gator method, which is like just loaning a friend money, right? Like you got people out here talking about Gator method. You got people out here talking about, oh, I just bought a sub 2 and wrapped it. Now somebody didn't pay. It's all this stuff going on. And it all ties back to, you got people out here like RJ's folks, right? They're calling realtors all over the country talking about they want to do creative offers and shit. So I gotta give it to Pace because his marketing power has quite literally transcended the industry in the past 12 months. It's like everywhere. And hats off to him, man. Real estate person of the year. Leon, give him a participation trophy, please. All right. And I'm gonna go with Pace, man.
CJ loves marketing so much, it's not even funny.
We're just gonna update to underneath CJ the marketer. That's gonna be how he's gonna show up from now on. All right, Leon, who is your real estate investing person of the year?
Man, I might get some backlash on the last two questions here, and I know I'm going to hear about this one forever. But it's not just because he's a really good friend. It is because I've seen the impact that this individual has made. Not only because the penetration within their marketplace is the highest that I've seen of any investor in the United States, while changing the industry and how some people have made it through these high interest rates and a market shift. And that's Eric Brewer. 5 years here that he was ahead of the curve of everybody else's novations plans that have come out before. I have investors that have shifted from wholesaling that 90% of their business is now novations. And it's just not like he's an influencer, an educator. He also is running a high penetration real estate investment business in York, PA, and that surrounding areas. It's super impressive to see. And so for me, it's Eric Brewer.
All right, there we go. All right, what are your thoughts, Steve?
With CJ on this one, it's got to be Pace, right? Because like a lot of us, we've had our rise, right? But some of us kind of plateaued or hit a certain level, and then we don't really grow much further. You look at Kong has been famous for as long as I've known him. Max Maxwell had his meteoric rise, and then he's kind of like there, but like intermittently, right? Pineda's had a crazy rise, but Pace has had a sustained rise, right? He didn't just blow up last year; he blew up well before then, and every year it's a significant jump, right? I mean, for him to be doing events with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, speaking in front of 1,000+ or whatever ridiculous sized audience, having conversations with Alex Hormozi on a regular basis, like there's just a lot of things going on, and you see the amount of work he's put out there. I think it's pretty hard to argue against Pace Morby.
There we go. All right, we got another vote for Pace. All right, RJ.
Close second for RJ.
What about you, RJ?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by the answers. I think the person that's had the biggest impact on our industry this year is Robert Winsley with Investor Lift. And because of the impact that he's made on the wholesaling industry during a time where at the end of last year, wholesalers were frightened to death. They were not able to move deals. And Robert went and made changes to Investor Lift without changing his pricing. He went and added Artemis mode, and where you're literally able to stalk your buyers. You're able to see how many pictures they clicked on, how long they were on the email and your landing page. These things are things that 2 years ago, we would have never thought that we would be able to do now. And there is no competition for Investor Lift. He already owns the market. And on top of that, he's received astronomical offers for Investor Lift and turned them down to maintain providing us an amazing product. I think on that level, as a vendor, he has changed this industry more so than Pace and Eric as educators and investors. I think the reach has been more by Robert.
Yeah,
I don't think any of those answers.
No, I was just gonna say, I just got to get RJ's address because I think for Christmas for him, I think I'm gonna get him like, hey, I'm sponsored by Investor Lift patch, and like we're just like stick it on we'll put it on his lower back. We'll get him a lower back, like one of those tattoos, like those water tattoos from back in the day,
like a tramp stamp, or
bro.
Yeah. There you go.
Take that little Investor Lift link and tramp stamp me up, baby.
I mean, RJ's not wrong, right? Like the Investor Lift, the changes that they've made in order to resolve some of the issues that we were facing, like having those conversations with him is like, here's what we're doing, like he'll give me updates here and there, and I was like, this is just crazy. Like the stuff that he's doing at no additional charge, it's crazy.
I mean, my thing is I would go back and say Pace would probably have been like man of the year last year. I don't know what he did in 20. Like, let's be real. Pace, you set the bar high, bro. You did 25-hour lives. You did 26 hours live. You didn't go 27 hours this year. You didn't earn it, bro. Sorry, you got lazy. You got a kid.
I was going to say earlier that I don't think you can go wrong with any of those guys. But for me, Robert made a massive impact in 2022 because of the market shift, for sure. Knowing Eric's business as well as I do, and knowing how many people and all three of these guys have made massive impacts, right? You've got Sub 2 that wasn't a big thing until Pace blew up. You have Investor Lift that, again, buyers list, nationwide buyers list wasn't a big thing until Investor Lift. And then Novation wasn't, people didn't know how to spell Novation, let alone do it, until Eric started putting it out there. And I've seen him help businesses go from, I'm not sure if I'm going to be in business, to transitioning to 75 to 100% of all of their deals are done through Novation while still operating a fantastic business. And that's why, for me, that's why I put him over the top. But I don't think you go wrong with any of those guys.
I want to say this, though. Shout out to Robert. Investor Lift is an incredible tool. I do think that it hit mass in terms of like the benefit, right, in 2022, and it's just getting better. But it opened up this wave of nationwide wholesaling. In the same vein, though, what Leon is saying about Eric, I do want to give some credence to too, because it is accurate in the sense that Novations became a strong conversation in this changing market. A lot. I'm gonna put myself in this conversation too, right? A lot of people's business have been greatly assisted by the ability to put properties on the MLS and sell properties to people that traditionally would not ever buy our deals or even know that they existed. And there is definitely something to be said for that, because that's saving a lot of our asses at the moment.
Without taking the deal down, right? A lot of us that take deal downs in hotel, that's easy for us.
I used to be a huge wholesaler, right? Before PTD and Eric talking about Novations, I spent a lot of money all the time, every month, on doing wholesale transactions where you got to take on debt, you got to take on risk, all these different things. I get on here, I start hearing Eric talk about Novations. I hadn't even done a Novation before.
Exactly.
I started looking into it, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, all right, this actually does make a lot of sense. I don't know, man. Leon might be on to something.
I will say, though, I mean, I love Eric, but he can't win this.
Well,
that's why I said when I started, I knew I would hear about it for a while.
Look, similar to Time Magazine, a lot of times not everybody's going to agree with whoever the person of the year is. A lot of times it is kind of controversial. I am going to say this. I'm going to go with Leon on this one. I am, and the main reason why is no, RJ, don't shake your head, bro. Come on, he's like a bobblehead over there. He's like,
anyways, see a giant, massive facial hair moving back and forth.
Yeah, it's somebody sent RJ some clippers. Trim that up. The reason why is, to Leon's point, the amount of investors that do novations now, and even agents that understand the process of novations, is actually like astronomical. Like last year, I didn't know what the hell a novation was. I've done a lot of them this year. So, I mean, for the purposes of this year, we're going to give it to EB. You know, right now he's probably closing his window so the landscaper stops, blowing in his ear right now. But, shout out to EB. You are the PTD Person of the Year. All right. We're going to get into question number 6. I'm sure everybody's seen this amazing meme floating around. ING apparently is predicting that there will be 6 rate cuts to the Fed funds rate in 2024. Is the Fed really going to drop interest rates 6 times next year? Let's go ahead and start us off, Leon.
I don't know if it'll be 6. I think after next week's CG, I'll know a little bit more. We've got Mr. Barry Habib that is giving us a market projection for next year. And by the way, that's something that's available to the public. If you want to check it out, it's easy to find. I don't know if it'll be 6, but I've been screaming from the mountaintops on this show for at least a year that we will see change in 2024. Why? Joe Biden can't beat Donald Trump unless changes are made and people feel good about the momentum of recency bias. And the best way to get that momentum going into an election year, going into an election in the fall, the best way to get the momentum is to lower interest rates and get people spending money again, and being confident about some of those changes. So I do anticipate that there'll be changes. I don't know about 6, but for sure there'll be interest rate decrease.
All right. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's preposterous. There's no way they would rig the game for Biden to get reelected. Right? Like, why would the Federal Reserve work with the federal government and Wall Street to get Biden reelected? There's no way that could possibly happen. Unless they're trying to win CJ's vote. But besides that, there's no way they would do this.
Steve has absolutely remained unequivocally the number one conspiracy theory guy right there. He believes in it 100%. All right, RJ, what about you? 6 rate cuts in 2024?
Yeah, I don't know what Steve's talking about there, since he's the one that voted for Biden on this panel. I mean, we settled that last week, okay?
You didn't get that cease and desist notice? Marrying SOB?
No, my answer is going to be no. It will not be 6 times. That's too specific. There's no way in the world it's going to drop specifically 6 times. So my answer is going to be no. I do think they will drop it because, like what they said, the election and everything else. But no, I don't think it's going to be specifically 6 times. I think it's just going to be because it's an election year, and also all of the rumors have been it's not going to happen in 2023. There won't be any rate cuts until 2024. So they've been saying this now for at least the past couple of months. So not 6 times though.
All right. Another vote for not 6, and another vote apparently for Biden. All right. CJ, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Look, I'm going to say what my buddy Jerome Powell said himself. I'm fascinated by internet land sometimes. RJ calls it marketing, right? Where, like there's a headline that comes out and people don't read the article. They're not informed. They don't pay attention to these things on any sort of normal type of basis whatsoever. So they see this like headline going around. It's a trending conversation in the real estate industry. Like now everybody's got an opinion or a talk point on it. The guy has said himself as late as last Friday that he doesn't even know, that he's not even sure, right? Mm-hmm. He says that he feels like we've gotten things to a level place, but he's not certain yet. And if it means that there's rate cuts that need to take place, hey, rate cuts may take place. But if they don't need to take place and we need to hike them again, as late as last Friday, the guy has simply said he'll hike them again. So Is befuddled the word? Yeah,
It is.
right. You see all these clips on IG. Everybody's got a reel about it and all of this, and it's like, did anybody read anything about it? Did anybody actually look into what's actually said? So I don't think we can even really speculate if it'll happen or not. The only people saying that it's going to happen are the people that are up their ass in Burr, right? And they got all these properties they got. You got all these guys with multifamily properties that are just praying to God every night, every morning, that please God, will their interest rates drop? They got stuff that's been in pre-development for years. And these are the same people that get on the internet and they're like, oh yeah, now the rates are going down 6 times. You got to make your investors feel a little bit better. You got to make yourself feel a little bit better. Nobody knows.
They're at the craps table.
CJ,
They're at the craps table. Come on, 4.
CJ, you're saying we should listen to what Jerome Powell has to say.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
That's what I heard.
No. This is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the guy himself has said he doesn't know. So I think you can trust and accept the fact that they don't know yet whether they're going to increase, decrease rates or not next year.
Have us believe that we should listen to a guy who is.
Now, here's what I think you should believe. This is what I'm telling you that you should believe. You should think about where you're at in your business. If you're a long-term hold investor and your Burr is your strategy or multifamily is your strategy, you should be having an honest conversation with yourself about risk exposure. There are literally people out here in all of our networks, mine included, that are telling people right now, hey, keep buying Burr, buy it at 8% interest rate or 9% interest rate, 10% interest rate. And hey, next year rates are going to go down. You're going to be fine. Well, what happens when we get into next year just because somebody told somebody that?
That is
and then
such
it doesn't happen.
Who was saying that? That is grossly irresponsible.
Right.
No, I'm saying if you're going to go out there and tell people to do something based off a projected interest rate, like that is so.
People tell people to do things off of self-interest.
It's okay. I mean, that is for me like just completely opening yourself up to all sorts of liability. Hey, Leon, who was the guy? Was it from New Zealand that spoke? It was the same event as Daniel Marcos, right? He's like
Matthew Pollard.
No, it wasn't Matthew Pollard. It was a guy that.
Yes. I'll think of it. I know
I can't remember what it was, but he was an economist, and he said like, I don't know why you guys ever read newspapers or listen to the Fed or anything else. All you have to do is watch. I can't remember which rate he was saying, but it's like just
bond
watch
market.
This. Yeah, he's like, just watch this. This is the only thing that matters because there's like a 90% correlation between the Fed rate as a lagging factor against, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But he's like, yeah, everything else is just noise. Everything else is just to sell newspapers, to sell media, get people screaming on the TV, getting people make Instagram stories. All irrelevant. All you have to do is just pay attention to this one particular rate.
CJ, can you let us know who that Burr educator is so we can potentially nominate them for 2024 or not?
Dude, listen, I just just before the show, I'm scrolling on Facebook and in my feed, I see somebody in a Facebook group I won't mention where they've taken over a deal. They were doing Burr. Now they're negative cash flow. They've lost their job and they don't know what to do. All right. Like there's so many other unique ways that you can create cash flow because here's the problem. I think people get married to strategies and not concepts. If conceptually your goal is to create cash flow, you shouldn't be married to just doing Burr. You do things based on what the market allows you to be able to do. I've been a builder. I've owned apartment units. I've done note buying. I've done all these different things. Real estate brokerage. Shout out to NAR, right? Because you do what makes sense based on where the market cycle is currently at. So if my goal is cash flow, there's so many other ways to create cash flow right now that's not Burr.
I've said it a million times on this show. I said, take what the defense gives you. And that's an analogy to the market. Take what the market allows for at that particular time and don't just force square pegs into round holes.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to CJ's director of marketing, man. This dude is so amazing. Look what he's done for CJ. CJ takes a question about the Fed dropping interest rates 6 times, He rambles for 5 minutes and somehow he turns it into bashing some guru on the Burr strategy, and he turns it into a marketing pitch for the U. I'm surprised you didn't just finish it off with just dropping the U at the end, baby.
Hey.
Like, charge up.
Start flipping deals. Hey, the webinars.
Yeah,
Webinars.com, baby.
Webinars.com.
Hey, listen, it's the reason my students make so much money, man. Shout out to all the U family, all right? Shout out to the U family.
So we're gonna have CJ versus Leon in the next election. This is what
Shout
I
out to
foresee.
FSU. And so RJ understands also. I'm my own director of marketing, so you know.
Oh, okay. Hey, real quick, did you or did you not vote for Biden?
I didn't vote.
So you
There
did.
we go.
I vote local. You
vote.
think presidential elections matter? You probably the same guy on January 6th that was up there at the thing in DC. You drunk that Kool-Aid too, huh?
Shout out to you and Disney, man.
Yo, that was amazing. I am gonna say the heat was absolutely brought by Mr. Marketer himself over there. CJ came in hot on that one, but he's not wrong. I mean, like, let's be real. Powell even said, and it's just so everybody can have a talking point and feel good about themselves. That rates are gonna get, quote unquote, cut. So we have a tie between Leon and CJ. Tiebreaker this week goes to who has the better beard. Just wrapping that up in our show. So clearly it's me. I'm the winner today. Win for CJ today. It was a good show today. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel that we had a good time here. We're gonna go ahead and do some outros real quick. We'll start with
Didn't
Mr.
Leon get 3 points?
He did. And then CJ just got one. Like, dude, I know how to count, Steve.
CJ got 2 points.
I don't know.
Nah, it's third.
Yeah,
But
it's
shout
three.
out to
This, that, and the third.
Damn.
shout out to Bernie. Shout out to Bernie Biden. All right, shout out to Bernie Biden. I can't wait for the election, man. It's gonna be great on PTD. I just can't wait to just savagely crush you guys all election cycles. Talk about what I'm looking forward to. Forget a rate drop. I'm looking forward to that. No, shout out to everybody. I had a good time today. RJ, good opportunity for you to win. I know it doesn't always work out, but it is what it is. Steve, light skinned Steve, man, it just looks good on you, man. Steve, it really is. All right, you're my favorite Asian, man. It's good to see you, Leon. Shout out to FSU Sports. They just didn't deserve it, bro. All right, they didn't deserve it. They didn't earn it. All right, you just got to accept it. But it's great to see you, Potter. Come on, man. I owe you a call. All right, let's talk later today, man. Peace out, everybody. Much love.
Awesome. All right, next up, Leon. Say bye to the people.
Well, I can officially say this is the first time I've ever lost anything for being clean cut. I've never lost to anyone with a beard in the past. And to wrap up that last question, if you are at the craps table and waiting on 5% or 4%, don't wait for that 6 rate cut. Go ahead and take that 5 or take that 4 with that strategy so you can get out of debt and going negative cash flow on that Burr strategy that you've been doing for the last year and a half. It's been fun as always. This episode makes me want to go out and figure out how I get Pineda's beard and get some Rogaine. I'm going to figure that out eventually and come back with one of those little pencil beards, John B style. One of these days, by the election, I'll have it.
I don't know. I'm feeling mutton chops on Leon. Dude, we need some chops on you. All right, Steve, say bye to the people.
Well, I think RJ's pretty pissed at the moment, if I'm being
Good.
honest. I think he should have a conversation with the FSU director. I believe he did everything right. I really believe he did everything right. I love the format for today's show. Hopefully, everyone else was watching today and appreciate it as well. Like I said, we did have a good meeting. We've made some changes. We executed majority of those changes. So really happy with how it came out today. And then again, if you guys looking for to be a panelist on the show, RJ and CJ are taking their talent somewhere else. They got a bit lippy during the meeting. So just
beardless.
Steve at disruptors.com.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Real quick, if I could, I don't know who this is. I got an anonymous text. It says no caller ID. It says, RJ, is your beard a lace front? Google it, man. Google it. They might not have. I know they got lace fronts in Texas, baby. Google it, man. Google
Unbelievable.
RJ, say bye to the people.
Listen, the consequences of giving in to a narrative of the moment are destructive, far-reaching, and permanent, not just for RJ Bates, but for all of Pardon the Disruption. I am very upset with you, Matthew Potter. This episode was a disgrace to all of the Pardon the Disruption series. Torch the earth, okay? That's all I got to say. Hey, shout out to Robert Winsley for being my man of the year. Okay? I don't care what anyone said. All right. His
Sponsorship
product-
dollars is sky high, baby.
Hey, you had your turn. All right. You had your turn. Get down, CJ. All right. Shout out to Investor Lift for allowing two 21-year-olds that don't know anything about real estate. We counted up yesterday. One of them has wholesale deals in 33 states, the other one 22. Shout out to Robert Winsley and Investor Lift. That's all I got.
There we go. Tattoo
Don't say
coming
bye to
soon.
Potter. Don't say bye to me.
Tattoo coming soon to RJ Bates III. We're waiting for it. It was a great episode today. We hope that you guys had as much fun watching it as we had doing it, and we will see you guys next week.